Hi, welcome to the Wellness Agents. Thriving in a changing world, and there is always more to learn, is what we stand for. Caroline and I are here again today to talk to you about more flower essences. And this one is very interesting. And Caroline is our expert, is going to be discussing the power of what flower essences can do for us living in this world where there's just so many toxins being thrown at us in all different directions. Over to you, Caroline.
Thank you, Karen. And I love doing this. As you know, I'm very passionate about flower essences. And what's really unusual about today's topic is this is an essence that I use every day and have done for a long period of time. We're probably going back over 20 years I've been taking this essence, which is really unusual in the world of essences because usually you take a blend and you might take it for 1 or 2 or 3 bottles, but then you change because you've changed and things like that. So the reason I'm using this blend on a continual basis is it's called Yes, or Yarrow Environmental Solution. I've got a little card to talk about what the essences are. And it's for protecting us against elements from the environment, and specifically environmental pollution from radiation that is attacking it. So we often call these EMF, which is called for electromagnetic fields that are bombarding us on a regular basis. And just this morning, I was reading an article where someone was saying in the last 10 years, I'm not talking 50 years, just 10 years, in our homes, we are now exposed to 600 times more electromagnetic fields than we were 10 years ago. That's a huge upload in how much we're being exposed to.
So this EMF stress, would I be right in saying smart meters, as far as the way our electricity comes into our house these days, smart TVs, smart devices, so it could even be your watch, but like telephones, iPads, that sort of stuff, they're the kind of things that are emitting 600 times more than what we got 10 years ago.
The vacuum cleaner that goes around, the mobile vacuum cleaner that's, part of, you don't even notice those sorts of things. Anything that's got a smart in it, yes. And that doesn't include extra radiation we're exposed to. So, you might have been in an accident, have to go and get an x-ray, or have dental x-rays and you're exposed to more. Or you might do some travel in a plane, and planes are one of the places that we get hugely exposed to electromagnetic radiation. So that's all adds on to that 600 times as well. And in addition to that, what we don't often realize is that this stuff is accumulating in our body. So it's not like, I had to go for an x-ray today, tomorrow I get a clean slate and have my, extra number of minutes I have in a day again. No, it accumulates up. And there's not a lot of studies being done on that cumulative effect and how it affects the body. And most of it's squashed because people don't want people to know about it. And, we're also got to realize that most of this has been exposure since the World War II, because radar was the start of it. So, you go back, 30 years ago, nobody had, you were lucky if you had a phone, let alone nobody had a mobile phone. We might have had a black and white TV, but you didn't have color TV. You didn't have TV in every room of the house, all of those sorts of things. And yes, they're great conveniences, but at what cost to us?
Mm. So, but unfortunately, we're in a period of time now where, it's amazing that I've got a mobile phone that if I'm not at home, I've got access to everything in the office. I can be making appointments or swapping out appointments, or like the convenience of that. We're not going to give that up, are we? So we need to make amends to reduce the risk that we're being exposed to.
Yes, totally. So I think, one of the things I'd like to talk about at the end is some of the things we can do to help us protect ourselves, as well as take Yarrow Environmental Solution. Yeah. So, there's been studies on the effects of radiation. Do you know what they do? they have like a ball that they use, and it's the equivalent of a 3-minute phone call, and they don't do anything longer than that because, of course, the effects of it. And all they study is the thermal effects. So they study the effects of the heat on your ear or your head. They don't even study the effects of the radiation. So there's very little stuff out there about it. So that's why I take Yarrow Environmental Solution. So it was originally formulated by the Fluorescence Society as a result of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. And it doesn't stop the physical effects. What it's working is working on our energy patterns, which is what fluorescences do. However, the results they were getting with people using it encouraged them to go further and develop it further. So originally it was just a blend of yarrows that was in the formula. Now they've got 3 different yarrows, pink, white, and yellow yarrow, as well as Echinacea and Arnica. And they also have the herbs of Echinacea and Yarrow in there as well to support it. So it's an all-round formula. And it's quite interesting because it's in a sea salt base. So it's because salt is such a good thing for us in small doses, you know. And so it's quite an unusual formula. And it's really working on our ethereal field to support us through it. So the yarrows in particular are really great essences for anyone that's empathic. So if you're someone that walks into a room and goes, oh my goodness, what's happened in here? Or, oh, Mary's really upset, or you know things before they happen, or you catch up with your friend and you've had a cup of coffee and you walk away and you feel like you've been hit over, over the head with a sledgehammer because you've picked up all their energy and you just feel like, oh gosh, So those sorts of people, the yarrows really help with. So you've got 3 yarrows in there helping you on all sorts of levels for that, as well as Arnica. Now we're all probably, a lot of us are familiar with Arnica for its effect as on bruising and trauma for accidents, which is a homeopathic form. So it does this on a soul or spiritual level to our energy field. If we've been in some sort of trauma or our energy field is feeling a bit shattered, it comes and pulls it all together. So Arnica is a really beautiful yellow flower. And its affirmation is, my life force is renewed. So, and that's what it's working on, is our internal life force, because these radiations are just draining us out. And, one of the things that's interesting is because we're being exposed to these radiations on an ongoing basis, but it wasn't just all of a sudden we all had mobile phones and we all had computers. It's sort of been this gradual thing. It's a bit like, sticking the frog in the boiling water. Stick a frog in boiling water, it's going to hop out. But you stick it in a pot and you gradually raise the temperature and it doesn't even notice. And that's really what's happened to us, unless you happen to be someone who is EMF sensitive.
And I've actually had clients, I had a client who was sensitive to 3G. Goodness knows how she's going now. But I mean, I could settle her body to 3G for a while, but it was tough for her. But yeah. But I also did hear that we have to be able to cope with the more Gs if we want to do space travel. Well, I'm not sure that that's going to happen in my lifetime, but
And I sort of disagree with that.
Okay.
Because I go, that whole thing about space travel and us doing time travel and things like that, that's very neat. We need our whole energy field to be us. We don't need it to be bombarded with other things. I actually feel like the Gs are actually taking away our ability to do those things. And if you think about it, like the shamans in Peru and stuff like that, they're very into time travel, and they can be in different places and, take on different animal personalities and all of those things. And they're away from all that technology. So I actually suspect that that's something someone's trying to tell people to get them to go, oh yeah, that's okay. I'm increasing my vibration. If you think to do those things, we have to be of a high vibration. And all the Gs are actually taking away our vibrational energy.
Sucking it away.
So that's my...
Because I do know also Indigenous up in the northwest where it is really remote, and they've probably got some sort of a tower that gives them, or satellite phone or so, I don't know, because they are in community, and I'd expect that there's they have to have some sort of means of contact. But yes, they also do that
time travel
shape-shifting
and shape shifting.
Yeah.
That
sort of stuff.
So
no, that's an interesting point. So you cover the yarrows and the arnica.
So Echinacea is the other one, and of course we use Echinacea a lot for colds and flus and those sorts of things. Immune system stuff, and it's very much for supporting that part of us inside us. And the affirmation for it is, I am this luminous self. I meet adversity with inner strength. So it's helping to increase our... that's upside down. There we go. That's the right way up. It's helping us to increase our energy field so that we feel better with it. So yarrows are really interesting. So they come up and expand out as a flower. So it's like they're open. And that's, those of us who are empaths and sensitive, we are open. And so it's to protect our energy field when maybe we're too open to the other people and other things. So pink is specifically for, I keep turning them upside down. Pink is specifically for our emotions, when we pick up the emotions of others. And white is specifically for environment, when we're picking up energy from the environment. You go into a place and you just go, if you've ever been looking for a house, and you go into a house and just go, okay, I'm going to walk out the back door, or I'm going to track out of this place as quickly as I can get in there. So yes. And then golden yarrow is really about ourselves and total self. So, just protecting us from that. So a really interesting combination of essences and herbs that help us on all levels of being.
And help keep our vibrations high.
Yep. So I take usually just 1 dose a day. However, if I feel... So I'm quite sensitive that way. So why I started taking the Yes formula was I used to go into a computer shop and I'd walk out with a headache. And it happened just a few times, and I went, okay, I'm being affected by this. And I can use a computer now. I don't have problems. I don't particularly like going into those places, but if I have to, I can. And I put it down to the fact that I take this on a regular basis and support myself.
What do you call a dose? How many drops do a dose?
So I would take 4 doses, and unlike most flower essences.
So 4 drops?
4 drops under the tongue, or you can just do a couple of sprays if you buy spray. So it's actually available as a spray or as drops, whichever way you want to purchase it. There's choice there with it. I personally usually rather the drops, but that's probably because I'm so used to using drops with flower essences than anything else. But unlike most flower essences, you actually take this as stock. So normally we would be making up a blend with them or dropping it in the blend, but this you take directly from the stock bottle. Okay. And I would take more often if I thought there was more stuff going on electromagnetically. So every now and then I just go, maybe it's because we've been bombarded with all the solar flares or stuff. I just feel more sensitive, and I just go, okay, I need an extra dose, and I just take that. I might take 3 or 4 for a few days, and then I just intuitively follow through with it. But I always have a bottle in hand.
So really, people should be aware of their workplace, because I know when I was nursing, one job I was in general practice, and I had no natural light. There was no windows to the outside world. Had the vaccination fridges in the room, so there was not only the power source because they were pretty full-on fridges, as well as whatever was in them, and then also under fluoros. Yeah. And my job was to be in constant contact with people that weren't traveling well, because that was the nature of the job, So for people that have I also know of a young man that needed to leave the white goods store he was working in. He was actually selling smart TVs, and that was his department area. But he ended up having to leave that job because he knew he was feeling sick. Just with all the TV displays that are going on, and again, under fluoros, and probably again didn't have natural light to help balance his day. And so they're kind of, or else maybe you're a truckie or courier where you're doing a lot of Ks behind the wheel of a car or a truck. Just that sort of, or sitting behind a computer all day.
Yep, all of those things. And the effects are, you know, like I talked about the sticking the frog in the boiling water. The effects, it's not like usually they all of a sudden come on like that. They can be very insidious. And so people don't often associate it with it unless there's specific things happening like, oh, I'm getting burning in my ear every time I'm on my mobile phone. You know, people associate that with it. And some of the researchers, that's why they've started researching EMF, and are very passionate about it because of their personal stories.
Experience.
You know, there's a fellow out there who was absolutely bedridden because of his mobile phone. And, you know, in the day when it started with him, the doctors didn't believe him because it's like, oh, why would that cause problems, you know? And even now there's very little research backing it up because a lot of these are funded by telco companies that don't want the information out there, sadly. So, and they limit the lengths of time that they do research for because they know if we do it for too long, it's going to show too many bad things. So, yes, but, you know, things like brain fog. How many people do you see talking about brain fog?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, and it could be related to, okay, we're talking on our phones too much. And it's not, as you said, it's not about stopping it. It's about, you know, what can we do to help reduce it?
Yeah, because we're not going to go backwards, and the convenience of so many devices and like they've become part of how we function in life. I mean, in the good old days of right up until I got my first mobile phone in 2002, and a lot of people had mobile phones by then, but I was didn't need it, so I didn't really rush into it. But and now I've got a computer that's more powerful than what put men on the moon, supposedly. But like when you were saying that there are other things that people can do, I just hope it's actually on my phone, but there's like a protective device that does stick on. Oh, and it's fallen off. I did wonder that. But then I usually only ever speak on speaker. I don't actually and very often.
That is one of the things that we can actually do is use speakerphone or get headphones to use those if we need to.
To give distance. Yeah.
Distance is your best friend. The next thing is not wear it on your prop person.
On your body, yeah. Certainly not in your bra. Or
the number of people I see doing that is sad, you know, and I go, yeah, don't do that. If you're going to do that, if you really need to carry it on you, look and see if you can actually put it on airplane mode while you do that.
Yeah.
So that it's not emitting. So if you really I need to take my phone with me for whatever reason it is, for the period of time you're actually carrying it on your person, put it onto airplane mode.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is make sure you don't have it in your bedroom at night.
Yeah.
So, you know, one of the things that's really, people use it as a phone. They've got it right next to the bed. Of course, it's right next to their brain. And our body's trying to heal and recover from the day. And there you are bombarding it with stuff. That's stressful for the body. It's, you know, so you really need to be able to, you know, turn that off. If you do need to use it as an alarm, and I don't recommend you do several things. Put it on airplane mode, it will still work, and put it at the other end of the room so you have to get out of bed to turn it off.
Yeah, good advice.
So the distance is your friend there.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other thing is turn off as many things as you can at night.
Yeah.
Including your modem.
Yeah.
You know, We don't need to collect emails in the middle of the night.
No.
And we certainly don't.
Hard and fast when you do turn it all back on.
Yeah, we don't need those bings, which are sort of like waking us up and go, oh, I need to do something, you know, and not giving us good sleep either. So that's important as well to look after that.
The other thing I do is I've got this next to the computer, and that's also
Shungite?
That's a shungite pyramid, and that also apparently is helpful with EMF sort of.
There's a lot of research out there about shungite and how beneficial that is, and so I would recommend it. You know, everyone carries some shungite with them today, and have it near your phone, have some near your computers, have some in your bedroom so that you can have some protection at night, because whilst you might turn off your mobile phone and your modem, you just have to look at how many mobiles your phone will pick up if you're connecting to it to go, okay, so I'm not the only one around here that's got internet, you know. So
the school principal actually did that at my kids' high school when they were still in school. He just went round with his phone on Bluetooth and picked up, and every classroom he walked into, he went, right, can such and such, such and such, such and such, hand me your phones, please. I thought, it's actually very clever.
Yep. So one of the issues too is, you know, like it's phones and devices are now being used to babysit children. And that's really bad because their brains and their thickness of their skull is not as thick as us. So if they're using it up here, they're being bombarded even more with radiation. So really, if you're going to use something like that for your child, to babysit a child, download what you're going to watch, have them watch, then you know what they're watching, and put on airplane mode while they do it. I'm not saying don't do it. What I'm saying is take precautions so that your child isn't bombarded with radiation. And the same we should do for us. If we're going to watch a movie or something of long duration, download it, stick the device onto airplane mode, and you can watch it.
Yep. Good advice.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that, Caroline. That was very interesting. When I had to do my research, knowing you were going to be talking about this today, I kind of went, right, I need to be on that. And a few family members would benefit too. And the big point I think I got from it, besides the fact of the value of the flowers and so essences and tinctures that are in there, is that you take it from the stock bottle, you don't dilute it. So that's quite a distinct point of difference to the other ways of taking it. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's something, it's not something I recommend, it's something that Flower Essence Society recommends.
Yeah.
And so I've always taken that on board, because they haven't said that about any of their other essences. And I do know that I was looking around at different essence companies, because I like to know what else is out there. And one of the companies was, oh yeah, you take this at stock level. And I'm just like, I don't agree with that, just as a point of blank. I think that becomes a very sales orientated thing. So the fact that they're saying that and only about this essence blend, I go, yep, I'm prepared to do that.
Yeah. Let them be the experts on their product. Yeah.
And it's been around for a long time. So it came out after Chernobyl. So I'll tell you an interesting story. Someone else I was listening to yesterday, because I'm always listening to people, you know, finding out, looking at research and stuff like that. And he was saying, so 1978, he was at uni, and there was an advert for someone who was going to talk in one of the lecture halls, this was over in America, about your health. And it was a Mr. Arizona. So he's going, this person's going to be really knowledgeable about stuff. So he goes in there and he says, there was a color TV. And he said color TVs were really rare on there. So there's this color TV over in the corner. So Mr. Arizona goes over to his briefcase, pulls out a magnet and pulls it up to the screen. And all of a sudden the screen turns upside down. Walks away, screen goes back to normal. Comes back up with a magnet, screen turns upside down. Walks away. He says, that's what electromagnetic radiation does to your energy field and to your brain. It scrambles it.
That is a fantastic story.
It is, because that was really powerful for me. And I'm pretty aware of stuff. And I was like, wow. Wow.
And how graphic, like you could see it.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what he said. It was so obvious what was going on there. He said, and that was 1978. So he said, oh, I can remember the day. It was a Wednesday and this happened, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's got the memory because it was so powerful for him. And so, yes.
I think it was the 1976 Olympics. I begged Mum to get a colour TV because I was doing gymnastics and loved watching gymnastics, just couldn't get enough of it. And I think it was the 76 Olympics. But they're quite different to what our smart TVs are now. But yeah, so we're talking about that era where a magnet would turn it upside down.
Yep. Cathode rays, I think Paul said it was in the TV then, which is different, the plasma and stuff like that. No, I don't really understand all the tech.
Me neither.
So yeah.
Well, thanks for that story, and I think those sort of things, like, they're what make you go, whoa, because like that a magnet did that. Yeah. Well, thanks again, Caroline. That was very interesting. And getting back to wellness agents, thriving in a changing world, and there is always more to learn. As you heard, Caroline is watching and reading all the time. I do as well, but you end up doing it in the areas that kind of go, oh, want to know more about that sort of thing. And hopefully we're contributing to your learning and, your growth and your awareness of things that you can do for you in this world. Like, none of us really, there's plenty of times where science says you've got to do this, and then 10, 15 years later we're, oops, let's turn the food pyramid up the other way. Well, that was more like 30 years. But, there's plenty of times where we think we're on track and we've just got to keep exploring. And if it works for you, because, there will be things that you really resonate with that maybe others don't, but if it's helping you with your health, then it's important to be doing it. And but it's keep learning. Don't close your mind. Keep your mind open, because it might not be 100% of the solution, but it might be enough of the solution to make life better.
True.
Yeah, because there's things that we can't control. So let's look for things that we can control, or to at least help us manage our health. So thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next time. Caroline's very good at picking interesting topics to talk about when it comes to flower essences and their capacity to help us on our journey of life.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline, and see you later.
Bye, everyone.